Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to this very august panel. We have a wealth of experience on the panel, and let's hope this is going to be a very interesting conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, it's often said that agriculture is the backbone of the Indian economy and the farmer is its soul. If you look at how we address the farmer in popular culture, whether it is our own thought or how politicians put it, it's always Jai Kisan, Jai Jawan. And here is a situation where 55 to 60% of the population is dependent on agriculture to fill its stomach, and there are all sorts of problems that most of us are aware of. Let's discuss how we can get agriculture in the 21st century, and this is a panel that will address that. I'll start first with Mr. Mehta. All of us have seen that wonderful ad, PO Glass Full Doodh. Mr. Mehta is the MD of Amul, and from breakfast till dinner, Amul is an integral part of our life over the past 5-7 decades. Mr. Mehta, thank you first of all for doing that fantastic job in getting that wonderful butter and milk and ice cream and so many other stuff to our doorstep. At 1 lakh crores as Amul's turnover, and the fact that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has put his personal integrity at risk in saying that the farmer and the dairy business is not something that is open for business with other countries. How do you react to that statement, sir?
We would like to thank and salute Honorable Prime Minister of India for his support and commitment to the farmers of the country. And particularly in dairy, this is a business or an occupation which is usually and typically run by the women. So his statement is actually a testimony to the fact that he recognizes the labor and the livelihood issues of millions of farmers of our country, millions of women of our country, and he has taken this position in this negotiation which is going on. But let me tell you and remind you of the same statement he made in 2019 when India walked out of RCEP. And there also, if you read that statement and this statement, it is consistently the same. So it has been the position of not just Honorable Prime Minister of India, but the entire government, all the ministries, including Honorable Minister of Commerce, that they have said that livelihood will never be a leverage for trade. And that's where agriculture comes in, that's where farmers come in, that's where cooperatives come in, and obviously the future of the country comes in.
Mr. Mehta, you've very well reiterated on the whole importance of sector, and no doubt, Shell, as you said, it's hot off the press for all of us because Prime Minister spoke about it, and amidst all the trade talks, it's something that has to be looked upon. My question is for Mr. Shukla, because we had such an interesting chat behind backstage, and you drew a very important analogy and comparison that rural is not equal to agriculture. Please elaborate.
Thank you. It is important to understand when we talk about the rural, sometimes or most of the times we actually confuse with the agriculture. You see, rural, if today's rural is approximately 75% of India, living in the rural India as per the government definition define the rural, approximately 21 crore household. So if you look at 21 crore household, it is important to look how they earn their livelihood. You will notice that out of 21 crore household, 7 crore of household, which we define means those who are drawing the major source of income from agriculture and agriculture related activity is 7 crore. Means which is a 33-35% of total rural household. It means 65% of rural household, major source of household income is different from the agriculture. And let me elaborate on that. If you take agricultural labor and non-agricultural labor, those who are not having the actually land and cultivating the land, their share is 38%. So saying that their source of income is agriculture. Second, approximately 22% also derive from the non-farm income like business, chartered accountant, lawyer and other thing, and salaried. So out of the total income, 100 rupees rural income, the contribution of agriculture to rural income is approximately 36%. Rest is non-agriculture income. So that's why we are saying that the agriculture always treating as equivalent to rural is not actually correct.
Right. Let's get Mr. Sivakumar into the conversation. He, of course, works for ITC, one of very large corporates that has done some fantastic business on the rural countryside. Mr. Sivakumar, you look after about 6 million farmers. You're almost there in about 2/3 of the country in terms of districts. Is it even possible to think that at some point of time, Indian agriculture will be an export-oriented business and that we would be enjoying the same kind of confidence as we do as far as software services exports is concerned? Can Indian agriculture take that giant leap?
Yeah, it's not only the perspective of can India, but I think it is also an imperative. In terms of the total productive capacity of Indian agriculture versus the consumption, I think very soon, already in some sense in some crops, but very soon we are going to see prices falling if we don't export. The productive capacity is much more. There is science and technology which is helping raise as farmers' investment capacity goes up with all the support that is coming through from government programs and otherwise. I think we need to. But I think the shift that has to happen is that traditionally we have been a production-driven supply chain, that we produce crops and if something is surplus from the domestic market, we export. If for some reason global market prices are high, it gets pulled out. Or it gets stored in government warehouses for a long time, and if there is next crop is coming in, and then it gets liquidated and it moves out. But I think if it have to be competitively exporting in the emerging global context, we need to shift to a demand responsive value chain mechanism. That means obviously there are quality that need to get aligned with different consumption markets around the world. Logistics costs need to be competitive, time schedules need to be on time, all of that. And it can't be produce what you can and it will get exported just because you have surplus. To say that I actually produce what is required, whether it is more food safe, more traceable, and some of them are really gaining ground across different crops. And where we have the natural advantage in some of those crops, certainly will be very globally competitive once we make this shift, which is rather important.
By and large, how much time would it take? A decade?
No, some of them already are programmed. Like spices, for example, if you take today, there is a significant amount of IPM spices which are food safe. And certainly they are expanding and going. Shrimps, for example, are market focused production which is happening. That is certainly going. So it is crop after crop. Some of them are already on their export path in a competitive manner, in a quality which is relevant for the consumption markets. Some of them will take a longer time as we get there. It really depends on the market opportunity behind which one has to create that. Because it requires cluster, because obviously our farmers are small and it can't be distributed that you source some of it from here, some of it from another district and something from far away place. If it has to be competitive, it has to be in clusters. As we become more and more value chain clusters, I think some of that will progress faster.
And that shift which you're talking about will clearly also come with a stronger push from the regulatory angle. This is where I also want to bring in Mr. Sinha in. Sir, I am a policy reporter. I've been covering the economic policy for 9 years now. And I know that you've had various stints in the power corridors of the country. I was reading your book, The Last Mile, and it has a very interesting excerpt, and I'd share with the audience. I'm going to pick up the fact that you said that, this is not the verbatim, but that each policy that is reform that is being built will not be able to kick off in its full strength until there is some groundwork being done at the smallest level. Here I want to understand from you, pertaining to the agri policy that's existing currently in the country, where do you think the challenge lies?
Thank you very much for that question. What my friends here from Amul and from ITC just spoke, if you look at why they have done well, that's where the professional, the community and local level facilitation, the last mile facilitation, in both these, the primary units are very, very strong. The clear learning is that unless and until you focus on your primary units, you cannot build castles on it. We have a similar example which has been pushed very strongly over the last 15 years. Started in 2011, the National Rural Livelihood Mission. We have 100 million women with us today. Thanks to all the efforts of the digital public infrastructure, the access to retail credit, we actually have a scenario where in India we've started recognizing the woman as the main principal player in agriculture and animal resources. Unfortunately, the land doesn't belong to them, but very little land belongs to them. But in terms of their participation, more than 60% of agriculture and animal husbanding is managed by women. Access to credit to them through the women's collectives of the self-help groups of the Rural Livelihood Mission, the last mile facilitation through professionals and community resource persons makes all the difference. One very small example, the NDDB services, which promotes producer companies. We had a lot of these women's collectives in very remote areas, in Bundelkhand in UP, in Madhepura, Supal in Bihar, in Madhya Pradesh tribal pockets. We decided to have a partnership with the NDDB services, where the livelihood mission provided the cost of the professionals for 3 to 5 years. Everything else was on market principles. They set up producer companies. The 7-district Bundelkhand Balini Milk Producer Company today has 68,000 women as members. Their total revenues over the last 6 years crossed 600 crores.
Wonderful.
Now, what it shows is the power of collectives, professionals, facilitation at the last mile. These would be needed to go to scale.
Absolutely. The gentleman on your left is one of the most powerful cooperatives the world has ever seen. But getting Mr. Shukla into the conversation, Mr. Shukla, often we've seen the farmer in India being typified as a person who barely gets 2 square meals a day, works 12 hours a day, if not 24, and is often at the mercy of the rain gods, the money lender, and of course an apathetic audience, which is us. Actually, there are farmers who earn millions and millions of rupees, and I believe that number is upwards of 35 lakh in India at least, the number of such farmers. Let me ask a question which might sort of trouble a lot of souls. Should agriculture be taxed?
Well, thank you. It is like the, let me say that the what I am particularly speaking about, it is from the large scale survey which outside the government institution like NCAERA price is doing, and based on that we have done actually and it is, as you are rightly saying, income of the farmer and income of the ruler is 2 different things actually. So if you look at the farmer, so you will find there are farmers, those who are earning less than ₹1 lakh per annum. There are farmers, approximately 50 lakh farmers, which we have estimated currently earning over 15 lakh rupees per annum. And the share of agriculture in their income is 65%, means 35% is coming from non-agriculture activities, like it might be. And from where this is coming? We defined a developed rural. Developed rural means which is a periphery of second tier city, or if you go around in Delhi, you are having 131 villages. So their income, you will find that it is tremendously high. So what I believe is we have to think little bit bold. Think to how, if like the 12 lakh is the income tax, if farmer's income is 25 lakh rupees, where the 25% non-farm income, so why not, it is time has come to at least think it should be reasonably taxed to the agriculture as well as farmer as well.
Maybe there should be a Business Today issue on top 100 richest farmers in India.
Yeah,
Siddharth?
exactly. And the important thing also need to remember that you see, means like there is, which is diversity is there, means there should be a protection, there should be, means all the, and when we are talking about the rural, always all the most policy go like the farming, agriculture is farming. No, agriculture is not farming actually. So a lot of the things like Kisan Nidhi, can we think about the 1.25 crore means like so-called farmer not having the land, not receiving the Kisan Nidhi at all actually. But their livelihood, major livelihood is agriculture. So one has to think actually the entire policy in different way, in different contexts.
Mr. Mehta, the question I'm going to ask you is something that most people in the audience will relate to, especially gym goers. And this comes in the fascination of affordable and reasonable protein in the market. And Amul has been a game changer, no doubt about that. I am personally somebody who goes to the gym, and I know the importance of having the right nutritional information and protein for your health. Now, this has somewhat brought in a change of rural protein revolution. Tell me, do you plan to take this beyond borders, international, and open up our dairy sector to the world when it comes to the protein element of it?
Well, milk itself is a superfood, which is a combination of good quality fat and protein and the sugars and the calciums and the vitamins and the minerals. But yes, protein as a concept has been appealing to large number of not just young Indians, but Indians at large, because of increasing awareness. And that's what our role has been, to say that each one of us requires 1 gram of protein per kg of our body weight every day. And largely as a vegetarian society that we are most of us are falling short of it. So it's not just the gym goers, but actually everyone, right from a youngster to a senior citizen, requires that protein. For us, it has come as a very important byproduct of a byproduct, because when you use milk to make cheese, you have whey, which we used to drain off, and used to spend money in draining off the whey. From that whey, we are extracting that 0.6% whey protein in every liter of whey, and we launched a range of high protein products, starting with high protein lassi, buttermilk, high protein milk, whey protein concentrates, and so on. But again, we are not selling the product, we are selling the concept. And that's what our job has been, to create awareness. And of course, the trust of Amul name is there in the quality to build on this. Talking about globalization, of course, you are right, because protein is a global currency. It would appeal to anyone and everyone around the world. India is the largest producer of milk in the world. Amul is the largest dairy brand in the world. Today, 1/4 of the total milk in the world is produced in India. In next 10 years, 1/3 of the total milk in the world will be produced in India. So obviously, we are not just looking at ourselves as the taste of India, but also India becoming a dairy to the world, and we playing a role, not just in milk, but also value-added products, and more importantly, protein.
Clearly, it's not going at that affordable price if it's going out of India, right? Especially after the tariff clash.
People, again, there's a misunderstanding, and we are being called the tariff kings. We've been exporting our products to US for the last 25 years. Let me tell you, a kilo of ghee, before this new high import duty hikes, I mean, I'm talking of, say, before 1st of August, was 50%. A kg of Shrikhand at 75% import duty in United States. US charges 40 to 60% duty on its products, whereas in India, whatever you can import from anywhere in the world, it's 30% duty. So people were paying that because the Indian diaspora wants Amul butter and cheese, and they're paying 50% duty. But again, those who want good quality will buy it, and we shouldn't be worried about it.
Mr. Mehta, I think the final question will go to you. You have the most recognized brand in India, and of course, an audience and a customer base which is almost captive to you. Is there a day when people in the audience, apart from buying an Amul butter or milk or maybe ice cream, can also buy your share? Do you ever plan to get listed via an IPO?
I'm aware that the ticker which is running below the screen is of the stock market. But unfortunately, it is contradictory to our objective. The reason is very simple. A private company shows the price and the profits and the valuation based on the money it makes. So it buys the raw material at the cheapest price, sells the finished good at the highest price, hypothetically, and makes the maximum money for its investors, the shareholders. We do exactly the opposite. As a cooperative, we buy our raw material from our members, and obviously we pay the highest price of milk to our farmers. And to the consumers, as she mentioned, Amul is a value for money brand. So we have to work with low cost, low margins, low profits, low overheads, and give the maximum both to the producer and the consumer. And
Sir,
that's why if we are listed, it will be a big disappointment for everyone who has invested into it. So my advice is to be a member of Amul, buy a cow, become a member of the cooperative society, and make the most out of it.
Sir, I deserve a protein pack for that.
Thank you.
With that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll wrap up this wonderful conversation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, everyone, for that very wonderful session that both Shell and Karishma have hosted. I'd like to call upon stage Mr. Siddharth Basu Chatterjee to felicitate all our guests and panelists, wonderful speakers, and for that very engaging conversation that we've just heard. Fabric. How can India really grow without leaving millions behind? This session will examine how to close the yawning gaps in wealth, in voice, and in opportunity.